Once again, welcome back to Unocoin's weekly live session. So sorry for that 1 minute delay. So, yeah, here we are with another interesting topic this week, which is India's crypto bill, which is supposed to come in September. Very exciting, very interesting. Let's see what India has got and what are we supposed to expect from this. For that, we have Mr. Sathvik Vishwanath here, the CEO and co-founder of Unocoin, to give us amazing insights on that. Hi, Sathvik, how are you doing today?
Doing Gishabi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great and I'm very, very excited. So it's a repeat telecast for us that we are doing, Abhi. So, anyways, uh, how are you feeling about it? First of all, India is thinking of coming up with a crypto bill or crypto regulatory paper of sorts. What do you feel about that?
I feel definitely good about it. Um, I would say India is one of the highly regulated countries, especially when it comes to financial transactions. So, keeping the fact that what could be inside the bill, the idea that the bill has to be created and some kind of framework have to be put in place itself is a great thought. And generally, we see what's happening with the developer countries and how they have faced the bill. If there are bill or whatever rules, frameworks, policies, legislation that they have done, and what has worked, what has not worked so far. And also because of the many countries we are allies of, right? So what they are trying to do in together, should we do something about it? So all of those things come together, and this I believe to be the very very first step at all. I don't anticipate this to become the law of the land instantly as soon as it is out. But yeah, so first thing is that
That's yeah, I mean, for sure, India even thinking of doing that is a major step indeed, and it signals into the direction. No matter what is in the bill, it's still a positive step towards at least the recognition part of it, which is very, very, very exciting. So, Satvik, as this discussion paper is about to come, what do you think is this particular paper going to outline?
that's actually a very tough question. I mean, we have seen some of the draft bills and some things which they actually wanted to propose many, many years ago. So there is nothing much we have directly in front of us right now to say, okay, this is the reference and this is what it looks like. That's actually not yet happening, at least not in my knowledge. I am expecting the bill to talk about what is fine, what is not fine. I would be more interested to see if they can do something with customer protection
Mm.
and addressing customer grievances, right? So I mean, if that is not there, it's kind of getting very very tricky, especially when you say crypto industries. Many of the other industries don't even want to work with us, for example insurance industry, right? So where it's becomes like making it to work the way you want it to work, like any other business, actually becomes like very very tough. Given that scenario, yes, it would be a little tricky in nature, I would say. And then if we have to talk about the warnings that these companies or crypto related have to put together for the users, which should be significant enough, and it should, I mean, it should some rules pretty much about it as well, because like how equity, mutual funds, commodities already have the rules. So that is something that would also it will be interesting for us to see. So I don't think it will be talking about taxation. It's unlikely, unless they want to do the amendments to taxation to make it like any other business. But that will probably the second step. I don't expect that to be in the first step. But then another thing that comes up is what we can and what we cannot do with crypto. So today, some are trading like assets, some are trading like currency, some are trading like equity. I mean, not just for taxation purpose, but for a lot of other purpose as well. So probably that is something that we may have some kind of more highlights about. I think so. Like I said, it'll still could be like at the very very draft stage, one stage at a time. Then look for the next amendments, I guess.
I think Sathvik very rightly mentioned when it comes to taxation, not just cryptocurrency, with regards to any investment market, the stance that Indian government has taken is pretty rigid, and it's good in its own way, it's bad in its own way, good in its own way, because it's trying to protect the consumers, who might not have enough financial knowledge. But at the same time, it's also a little regressive, because it's kind of uh, restricting people, psychologically, to walk into investment classes. And when we talk about financial literacy altogether, not just cryptocurrency, this is affecting that on a bigger stage. So do you think that, not just in this crypto bill, but in the coming months, or by the next budget, do you think that India is going to work on that by any chance?
Okay, so I I think we will have to see the percentage of people into this and what information they have and what they want to become, etc. as well. And it also, let's say, if it comes to basic education, yes, we have, for example, government schools and colleges, and even you have things like IIMs and IITs, which where either sponsored by the government or have association with the government directly. And so now it comes down to how many people really want to learn about this, what they want to do about it, and to what extent we can expect the government to support. So it's extremely unlikely this is one of the things that they want to keep educating people about. The moment it goes in that, it's like a super support that the government is providing the country. I don't expect that to happen sometime very soon, because it's not like crypto does not have challenges. It is just about it's more about saying the challenges that we face with crypto probably are things that we should be more willing to face as compared to challenges that happens in other financial systems. Again, we always have people, probably more than 90% of the people who argue about it, of how it is not true, etc. But we have our faith in the decentralization. The moment it is decentralized, there are some benefits that comes to the table, and that is not possible through centralization. And we believe decentralization to be a better methodology of handling those kinds of situations. So, keeping that aside, if you see the government or if you see the country, it's of course completely centralized in nature, right? So, you have like one boss, and then you have managers, or smaller managers below them. We probably are all coming under the last leg, uh, where we are just like normal citizens. This is what it looks like when it comes to the politically how you see the country, or if you see it from anything like of officers, officials, and whatnot, and or if you see from administration point of view or bureaucracy point of view. So in everything, it is like some kind of centralization. I wouldn't say some kinds, actually, a lot of centralization already exists. Anyway, so promoting anything like this locally is actually also saying that okay, we also believe this to be good thing. This also to be different. I mean, sometimes I'm ending up comparing, like, okay, you have like English medicine, and then you have like maybe a homeopathy or some other care, right? So this looks like that. Okay, so it's too tough to argue, but you have your belief in like what it can create, and over a period of time, I think it'll take its own time to prove itself. And we also cannot be 100% sure that whatever we believe will be the fact and the truth in the future as well, because we should also be skeptical of about like how this ETA thing is performing over a long term. So far so good, but doesn't mean it's good forever as well. So and a lot of times, the reason why people like and love crypto is not because it is decentralized nature, but it can make some money out of it, right? So given that scenario, and obviously it's not like government does not know about it, right? So um, now it comes down to, okay, you call it about decentralization, but what have you achieved through it, and what are you trying to do with it, and what is the use case for our country, and why? I mean, what if we don't even have that in the country? What is that we are losing because we will not have it? Is it just like some companies, some industries, some venture capital, some employment, some investment, or it's more than that, where it is affecting other things, right? So it'll come down to saying, like, to what extent broadly we can say the support is there because of this particular industry. So this particular industry can make something efficient, something where the cost that you have to spend is lesser, the time you have to spend is lesser, the resources you have to spend is lesser. So unless we have a lot of them, it will still be kind of a question mark itself. So, and there is also some of the government related or regulators or policies related things where they're already using blockchain and without the crypto. So it is no more like, okay, without the crypto you can absolutely not use the blockchain at all. It is not true, because they have identified their own parties of who should run the blockchain and how the data should be exchanged, instead of just saying we'll just do it a centralized database methodology. So it cannot be like a public blockchain when they don't have any kind of crypto associated behind that, but definitely the private and protected blockchains are possible today. And now the eventual question comes to, does the present policymakers, whoever is trying to create this bill, have that kind of knowledge or not?
Mhm.
So yeah, if it is like elementary knowledge, we will get an elementary paper, and if it is much more advanced, maybe we will see more details. But till we see, I think it's still very very speculation. It's more speculation than the crypto itself.
I know, right? That is there, and the funny thing is that people are not discussing it as much out there, which I was really surprised about personally, because I mean this should have created more buzz than anything else in the market so far. So I mean there's still people out there who are talking about this constantly, but I don't know. I think people have lost hopes to
What do
the.
we do by talking about it? What do we keep on doing by talking about it? I mean, there is some channels through which we have provided our own feedbacks and such, but it is more like a one way communication a lot of times, right? So taking the data from crypto exchanges alone is not sufficient. We can only give whatever we know and whatever is there in the country, and whatever information that analytically can be figured out, analyzed, and then some kind of inferences can be drawn out of it. Uh, but yes, so like I say, it's definitely. I mean, whoever is sitting to create this, uh, it's like extremely tough task. They cannot even take, okay, I'll take this as a reference, and this is already a 300 paper bill that is already there, and I'll see what are the things that can. It's not like that. It's kind of extremely new, and there are of course a lot of experts in the country as well. So if the bill is like funny, uh, then it will be bad again. So it's kind of important to have it match the present uh, trends, regulation, framework, policies across the world, and then creating the Indian equivalent that is good for the country like India with such kind of diversity and geographic features.
I mean, you know, again, it's a very first time, very nascent industry, and everything is so new, and we are so speculative about things that are coming up. But this brings me to my next question, Satvik, because whenever such a policy or paper is being drafted, industry representatives play a very important role in that. So, do you think that stakeholders like yourself are working towards this as well with the government to help them out and figure the right direction of it?
So what exactly is your question about it?
Is industry in particular, stakeholders from the industry are also contributing to this?
It's a one-way street for time being. Okay, so when we get asked for data, yes, we happily do send it, depending upon whatever data is being asked for us. Long is more like aggregate method than trying to target someone individually. But whether it gets used or not, in what way it gets used, will still be a little bit of challenge, right? So, and there are again different agencies, different people are in contact with, including, for example, it could be FIU or taxation departments, GST departments, etc. So it's like very fragmented in nature. There is no forum where, okay, now we will have like 10 industry experts, and then we have 10 bureaucrats, and then we have 10 people who are creating the policies, and then we have. 10 politicians, and there are some regulators. So, and then now let us sit and discuss of how it should. So that is not, definitely not happening here yet. Okay. So it is still it's like, okay, you get some information, you tell, and we just believe that whoever is receiving the information will do their best to synthesize it in such a way that it actually makes sense when it eventually the bill comes out, right? So because bill, not only it's like saying something what they're trying to say, but it's also to some extent why they're trying to say what they're trying to say, right? So I mean, without it, it'll still does not make complete sense. It's like whoever is sitting there have to properly weigh the pros and cons to take a decision on various aspects. Um, and and uh, I mean, as of now, India already have a lot of issues when it comes to financial systems, especially when it comes to the money laundering activities of or funding the terrorism, or like 100 different things where you have to, then maybe you'll be talking about the sanction list and having some transactions going through some transaction pattern monitoring. It's like so many things that needs to be done and that needs to be avoided. Uh, Given all of that, what will be the status quo of crypto? Will be the biggest question. Do we still treat it like, okay, you can buy assets with it, or it itself is an asset, or you can just make money out of it, but never use for anything else? And if you do, what will happen? Is there a legal recourse, or it is that you're doing it like a barter system and you're taking your own risk? So um, and just that not having any kind of physical presence makes it tough for us to tell what we did when it comes to the court of law, right? So
Yes.
maybe after 10 years it may be easier to explain for someone to talk about crypto to someone who is like maybe a judge who pretty much have 30 40 years of experience, where they're coming from much more pre-internet era, right? So but today, can we do that, and to what extent can we do that? Just just imagine, to tell about how Bitcoin gets created, it's too tough. Okay. So and then comes why it takes so much of money to create a Bitcoin, and why there is no one person but everyone, right? And how it happens from one person to one person without anyone in between, and how it is not like the transaction fees depending upon the percentage of money, but it's about the information it is carrying. So there is, I mean, to what can you draw the parallel? If you tell three things where the parallel can be drawn, and the fourth thing, new thing, as a new thing, yes, you try to correlate. But if everything is new, where will you start relating it? It's like that, right? So I think I just hope the present one, whoever is trying to write the paper, is not that kind of mindset, and they'll actually invest a lot of time to really understand every little piece of like how everything is trying to.
Sathvik, I think I've lost your audio.
You can hear me now, right?
Yes, now I can hear you. Missed the last line though, but
Yeah,
okay.
it was generalizing things. That's okay.
Okay. So, Satvik, in your experience, because you have been in this industry for so long, in your experience, what do you think are the pain points of RBI and SEBI and regulatory bodies when it comes to cryptocurrency in India?
Give me one second. Okay, you have to repeat the question. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So, because you've been in this industry for so long and you have seen things, from 2017 to 2020, a very interesting battle as well with the RBI. So, from your understanding, what are the pain points of RBI, SEBI, all of these regulatory bodies with regards to cryptocurrency?
Right now, whatever they have, to some extent they are comfortable with, and within that itself they already have a lot of pain. Okay. Of like how to deal with multiple things, and once one system gets established, initially it all looks good, but over a period of time, as it gets deeply rooted, lot of new issues would start coming out, and such. uh, so whatever are the rules according to the RBI when it comes to FEMA, money laundering, etc., so it was exactly not the same 20 years ago, not the same like 40 years ago. right? So it's kind of evolving space. And when it comes to crypto, you will have to evolve way too sooner, right? So what you will tell now, probably next year you may need to amend it as well, not just as a technology but also as a regulator, and that is a nightmare, right? So to come up with one thing and implement it like worldwide, I mean like the countrywide, with whatever new things that are coming, it takes a lot of time and efforts and resources, for because of, let's say, the way the government works, the way people work. We have countries like Singapore where sometimes there are laws which are done in the morning and afternoon it is implemented already, right? So we definitely don't fall into that kind of mindset, and we don't come from that kind of background, like where it's like instantaneous or lots of single things. Once something comes up, then it is like you have to go for voting, and then there's like so much of amendments, and then again for a review and such. So probably 6 months, 8 months time. This just happens like that, just by discussing about it. And like how we are discussing now, we pretty much will be discussing again once we have more information about it. What?
Yes, yes, and that is very important. Also, for everybody who's watching this session, if you have any questions regarding the crypto policy paper that's about to come, feel free to drop them in the comment section. Your questions and your statements make the conversations more interesting. Now, Satvik, moving forward, a very interesting thing that I believe is of great importance, and I think anybody who's aware of this crypto policy paper coming is thinking, do you think that they will restrict crypto activities or maybe ban crypto and Bitcoin? Is that a possibility? Or is that not at all a possibility anymore?
Oh, well, you cannot still be like 100% say it will not be that way, but the chances of that has significantly reduced, I think, because now we have a new complete taxation itself on one side, and the crypto exchanges and activities coming under FIU, and you have advertisement guidelines of what should be done and how tax GST to some extent how it should be handled and treated. And now there was time where you did not even have something like a cyber police station, right? So now it's there since maybe about some 7 8 years or so. So all of this has given boost, and I think the country like India can definitely support a, a technology and a new asset class like this to take it forward. So now it comes down to, it's not only about if we have it, what profit you will get, what advantage you get. It's also about if you don't have it, what disadvantage is there. And I believe, yes, there are a lot of disadvantages, including I mean, loss of one industry itself, and where there are a lot of other developed countries which are having a really good really good turnaround when it comes to crypto and blockchain industry by itself, and then maybe the loss of investments and employments and innovation opportunities, etc. So this is kind of bringing something to table where the implementation, I mean, like idea stage to taking it live, it's extremely fast, right? So, and it is, most of it is like open source in nature, so it's nothing is hidden behind the scenes and such, and it's decentralized, right? So even if you say yes, we are trying to ban, is it be successful? It's like very tricky in nature, and if you hold it, then what it means, because you held it and you paid income taxes for it, and if you are forced to sell, who will be your buyer? If everyone want to sell it, right? So it's like a, and does government buy it? I don't know. So it becomes actually very tricky in nature, I think. But let's see. I'm definitely not hoping for um, any kind of super knee-jerk reaction. If it was in 2015, 16, 17, I understand. A lot of information.
I mean, yeah, in the year where Bitcoin is in the manifesto of US presidential election, at that time, if India comes down with something like that, that would be really, really, really regressive and also not good for their image as well from a global standpoint. Well, I mean, there are a lot of things that are not anyways, but still, this would be like a major stain on their image for global economic things. That's a big question. Also, Satvik, very interesting thing. So, the even we get asked this question so often that if Unocoin is going to release its own coin, Unocoin, and there are a lot of companies who also work with tokenization as a part of fundraising and for different things. For community loyalty purposes, there are a lot of use cases of tokenization, but also this has I think caused most harm than any other thing for the people across the globe. So do you think in this policy they're going to address this concern, maybe positively, negatively, or come out with some sort of regulatory clarity on that?
Hmm. But regulatory clarity on what exact aspect again? Like what?
On if tokenization, because right now there's no regulatory clarity on if tokenization is something that
It's unlikely on day one they will distinguish between token coin, local coins. Yes, but at least today, just everything is VDA, right? So keep it like that for time being. So assume that it will be like that. Uh, so will they say, okay, if you're in your tokenomics, the founder should have at least this much of stake and it should be vested? I don't think someone would actually try saying anything like that. So if you are creating your own thing, then it will be your responsibility to make sure that it is like the interests are aligned in such a way that it will facilitate the growth of the project and the token project, right? So it again is like, okay, to a business, what are the new thing are the restrictions that that the any kind of policy? It's more about, okay, if you're making profit, you pay income tax and make sure that you have GST things accounted for, and have the responsibility towards employees and their health and whatever things. That's pretty much it. Then you undo legal stuff, don't do legal stuff. So that's pretty much it, right? So then what you do to figure out it is your life, your business, right? So I don't think they will talk about the policies on, okay, if it is tokens, then we ought to do policies this way, and if it is Bitcoin or Ether will do it. So it's like little unlikely for time being, unless we really distinguish it, right? So today, all of that is kind of working like an assets for us, asset class itself. So if you're holding this, like say Matic, then you're trying to make money out of it, and if you're holding Bitcoin, you're also trying to make money out of it. So yes, those are different, serving a different purpose, but we are just treating it like an asset class. And if you are a developer, yes, then you have your own thing, and this will just like a tools for you to what you want to do it. So eventually, the characteristics of the stables and crypto should be so different. I'm not talking about volatility point of view, because volatility is your risk, your reward. So I'm not talking about the price variation or anything like that. So we will have to have the distinguishing characteristics to such an extent where they say that, okay, for this I'm calling it as a different asset class itself. So let's call it this as asset class A. This is everything else as asset class B, and the different policies. I actually doubt if you have any kind of characteristic which will distinguish these things apart from volatility and what is backing behind it. So unlikely.
Satvik, from your points, I'm getting this idea from whatever we can, expect from this particular crypto bill is going to be very surface level, because I mean, it's pretty much understood these regulatory bodies might not have the in-depth understanding of the industry and market as a whole, and that might be a challenge for them in creating this and even comprehending the potential it carries.
No, I mean we cannot take it for granted, right? So they actually may have really good understanding as well, and they may be hiring some experts helping them to do whatever they are trying to do. And it is need not always be the normal regulators or policymakers who just sits. They can hire the required consulting agencies and try to help them. And now that this industry is already in the like very good growth stage, at least since 3 4 years, there are also like the forms which help this kind of policy making also, where the consultation can be obtained. Or else you can say that, okay, for this, what according to you is the policies that we have to do according to the law of the land and whatever policies are across the globe, right? So then there can be a lot of proposals that can be put together, and then the whoever is putting it together can take the call on what they want to implement and what they don't want to implement. You can hear me, right? Hello? Hello, am I live? Okay, my internet looks good. Okay, I think some technical glitch. Let's give a minute for it to come back.
I am so sorry about this. Hi, Sathvik. I'm so sorry about this, everyone. There was a little power cut, and as you can see, it's still not back. So I'm so sorry. Yes, Sathvik, you were saying.
No, I think the again the question was more about how the token gets how the tokens will get like understood, right? And if the policymakers or regulators can put in enough efforts and have the required knowledge base to do whatever they're trying to do. So just saying that there are many companies which can help them create policies as well, right? So and this is actually at least been like a see when it comes to policymakers, right? So they're not trying to create policy for things that are already there. So if they are concentrating, they're trying to obviously concentrate things for policies which are not there, and not many things are without policy in India yet, right? So and crypto obviously is one of it. So that will obviously be one of the things in the top of their list of like according to them how it should be done, etc. So I mean, I definitely am enthusiastic about the new bill that the new bill of paper, whatever the word that they're trying to propose. But on the other side, I am also hopeful that they would have considered all the nuances of creating anything the way it should be, just not with India as a perspective, but global as a perspective. I think so. Let's see how it will eventually perform. I think
Yeah, I
not in our
mean,
hands.
if it doesn't come in favor, definitely we're gonna see more and more people flying to Dubai, to states, and this is what has happened at least in the past couple of years. Most crypto enthusiasts have moved to different countries, Singapore, Dubai, here and there, because those countries are comparatively more friendly, and as a result, the growth is going to be for those countries, and India might lag behind in this case because very recently Dubai came up with accepting crypto, so which was a great regulation, by the way, not a regulation but say a proposition as such. And I am really hoping to see something like that in India very soon. People, when I personally talk to them about crypto, biggest concern of theirs is that it's not even legal. So I mean, it's that level of misinformation that is out there, and I think the prime aspect of this particular paper should be to address that. What do you think, Satvik?
I think it is. I don't think it is their responsibility to talk about whether crypto is legal or not, right? So it's you should have your understanding of what it is. It's more about what you can and what you cannot do, and how every aspect of crypto and blockchain and those things will be treated. I think um, it is legality or not illegality, if you put it that way. So that is very perspective based, and everyone should take their own opinion and call about it and do whatever they're trying to do. I don't think it will talk about whether it's legal or not, unlikely.
But let's hope with this crypto policy bill coming into the picture, more people come to realize that Bitcoin and crypto is not illegal. Quoting, Mr. Nishit Desai, because it was his coverage in the newspapers. I'm just quoting him here, and it was very interesting when it came out. Now, Satvik, from a crypto enthusiast, from Bitcoin enthusiast purview, and also an Indian purview, how do you think if, say, Bitcoin has a lot to offer, crypto has a lot to offer, so how do you see that this is going to shape the Indian economy in a good direction, in terms of employment, in terms of revenue generation, contribution to GDP, in what all
So,
aspects?
yes, I mean, contribution to GDP and employment, innovation, investment. So that's all like on one side. But it's also about what are the, I mean, see, India uh, comes with its own wants of like what it want from other countries and what it can do to other countries, right? Um, taking these two aspects where crypto can be used to make something better. If you're giving something out, if you can use crypto, what does it mean? If you're getting something in, and if you can use crypto, what does it mean? And if it can make anything cheaper, better, faster, less resourceful, it's good. It just it increases the efficiency. Okay, so and apart from what is given and what is taken, it's also about what is inside, right? So what is inside the country, and how it could be like the emotions or the people, and how they see things to be different, right? So within the country, I think it's definitely a good asset class. People can identify, given the digitization and mobile utilization, English speaking, internet penetration. Then we have the smartphones, and people are getting used to doing the payments through sending and receiving money through the mobile apps. I think there is good enough education and forward push when it comes to digitization, and it's a really good asset class from what we have seen, at least as far as returns itself is concerned, and I hope it will continue to increase, even though the past performance doesn't really mean anything in the future. But we are saying this since 10 years, and but every time it has only performed good. So now it comes to what the country can get from other countries. So, for example, I would say the remittance is one thing where it can really take a good advantage, especially because of the fees that, as of today, the people are ending up paying to get the money from some other country to India, and it goes somewhere between 3% to 7% of the money, and using the crypto, it can actually like facilitate. So, and when it comes to going outwards as well, then what are we comfortable in taking the money in crypto for exports and such things, or maybe it's about the talent, or maybe the contracts, or maybe it's the outsourced resources, like how we have back office outsourcing for various different MNCs happening in India and such. If those things can also happen for crypto, so I think there is lot to give and take, and also to hold. Eventually, for these, you will need a little bit more proper rules, regulations, because else people can really take bad advantage of this, right? So big depending upon the, and I don't know, we have to see like to what extent if these things also gets addressed in the policy paper, with the bill that we are looking forward to. If they gets addressed as well, and if there is a proper way of how to do that, then yes, there is a lot for India to gain than to lose from something like crypto and blockchain.
100%. I completely agree, Satvik. And, just one last question before we end our session for today. How do you think will this discussion paper is going to position India in the global cryptocurrency landscape? Because we see a lot of amazingly emerging players now globally.
It's very tough to answer. It will depend upon what is there in the bill, I guess, and depending on depending upon what is there, it may be more like the country is looking forward for new innovations and technology and open for experimenting, etc. Or if it is more restrictive, then it would it look like okay, they are anyway they're like highly regulated and they continue the streak to keep everything in absolute control. But yes, then we Indians who have lived in this country with whatever rules and regulations that is already applicable will continue to do so. So the number of people who have any kind of exposure to other countries to do any kind of transactions, that's like a very 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 small number of people, right? So we are maybe talking about 99% who probably may never even fly out of the country in their lifetime, right? So for them, they are happy here with whatever regulation. They just believe that to be the best regulation that they can get, and the government is doing everything in their power to help them because they're there for the people anyway. And there is only limited number of people who actually do bother to some extent about like how the other countries are performing and regulations and policies and taxations that exist there, to see if we can really take good advantage of it. And yes, there's a lot of people. There is obviously more millionaires and billionaires who leave the country from India to elsewhere than the number of people who get in. So that kind of does tell that it is not forward-looking country yet. Um, but on the other side, we are also progressing, especially when it comes to digitization and internet-based stuff, related things, bank accounts, etc. So maybe it is possible that we can consider we were lacking way too behind, and now we lack a little bit behind as compared to the countries, and people who could try to fill in that gap have left the countries to figure out some their life elsewhere. It may look like that, and if that is true, there will be a day where we'll be surpassing the other developed countries as well, in any kind of digitization and forward looking and such. So this can be used as one of the things that to show as a country that okay, we are forward looking as well. So yes, it depends upon the view the entire country will take, the policymakers will take to like what they want to put. It's like it is still, like I said, it's very speculative as of today.
Okay. So with this note, we are going to be ending our today's session. Despite a lot, have a very interesting and insightful discussion. Thanks to Sathvik, and I hope all of you got to learn something from it. Now let's wait for this policy paper to come, and post that we'll discuss more about that. Till then, stay tuned. Follow Unocoin on all the social media channels. Stack sat, stay humble, and have a great weekend. Thank you so much, Satvik, for joining us today.
Thank you, Shabir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.